AARP Missouri, we want to support you as you age. But first, you should learn a little more about us. AARP is a nonprofit organization working to help adults 50 plus in Missouri live their lives to the fullest. We advocate for over 700,000 members on important issues such as strengthening Social Security, protecting access to health care, and ensuring everyone has independence and choice as they age. AARP Missouri also offers online tools, resources, and programs you can access right from the comfort of your home. Learn how to protect yourself from fraud and scams with the AARP Fraud Watch Network. Become an active part of AARP Missouri as a virtual volunteer. Find support while caring for a loved one through our caregiving resources. And enjoy a variety of fun virtual events that improve your health and wellness, like our exercise series, Moving It. At AARP Missouri, there's an entire community waiting for you. Learn more about us at aarp.org/mo.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining AARP Missouri and Sandwich KC for this virtual webinar for caregivers and others. This month's topic is going to be Downsizing and Decluttering, Caregiver Edition. I'm Diane Hall, Community Outreach Director for AARP Missouri, and I'm really happy to be able to share this live presentation with you. As part of AARP's mission, we work to enhance the lives of all people age 50 plus and their families. We have resources and information online at aarp.org/mo and information about AARP activities and events at aarp.org/near-you that will work anywhere in the United States and its territories. Now, our efforts to help people live their best lives include a lot of things. We have virtual options like this one, which are good for caregivers or anybody else who faces challenges attending in-person events and classes and things like that. We also have resources for protecting yourself against fraud through online information or local shred events. And we're working in livable communities, which goes way beyond housing and transportation to include things like our Moving It fitness classes, in-person walk with a doc classes, and today's webinar for caregivers. We hope that you'll take advantage of AARP's resources and information. Again, just go to aarp.org/local to find out more about what we have to offer. Now, I'd like to introduce today Rachel Hiles, the founder of Sandwiched KC. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us.
Diane, thanks for having me. We love AARP Missouri, and we're always very happy to partner with you guys and really just admire all the great things you do for older adults and family caregivers across the country.
Well, that admiration goes back both ways. We appreciate that all that you do with Sandwich KC. You've produced a lot of great materials, the support groups, all that kind of stuff, but I'm kind of stealing your thunder. I know people are here to learn about downsizing and decluttering, but I really want to make sure that you tell us a little bit more about Sandwich KC, kind of its history and its goals and what it does for caregivers.
Sure. So Sandwich KC was founded in 2018. At that time, I was in the midst of caring for my grandmother, Barbara. She had Alzheimer's, and I was working full time, and I did have caregiving responsibilities for other people. And believe it or not, back in those days, even though it seems like a long time ago, it really wasn't. However, there weren't any virtual support groups happening. And being that I am a millennial, I preferred to meet this way, and not only because of my comfort level with technology, but at the end of the day, taking care of my grandma and going to work and doing all the things that I had to do, I did not have the energy and wherewithal to get myself together, drive across town to go meet with a bunch of strangers. And so that's why Sandwich exists, so that people can connect virtually. And back in those days, it was kind of unheard of, but of course now everybody's doing it. Since then, we've grown to offer information and referral and coaching for family caregivers in the whole Kansas City metro area, all the way up to Platte and Clay counties, all the way down to Cass County, and then over on the Kansas side. We meet, our support groups meet twice a week now, starting in February 2025. And that's a huge shift, because when we first started, they were just once a month. Just goes to show you how much demand there is for caregiver support. We also have a respite fund where we issue vouchers to caregivers who need to take a break, maybe don't have the resources to do so. And we've been hosting the Heartland Caregiving Conference, which is something that we're very excited about. That's slated for November 1st, 2025 this year. And the details will be at heartlandcaregivingconference.com.
Awesome sauce. Yeah, we've already got that conference on our calendar, because we went to the one last year. Yeah, I have to pause and go, it's January, so that's last year. But it was a great conference, lots of good information, lots of good partners. And the one thing I'm not sure that I heard you mention was the resource guide.
Oh yeah, you're right. So we were very excited last year to create the Kansas City Caregiver Resource Guide. It has articles on all kinds of topics related to caregiving, and then links back to our website where we have a huge resource portal that lists all kinds of programs and organizations and even companies in the KC metro area and beyond that can help you as you care for your loved one.
Absolutely. You guys are local to Kansas City, and you do have a lot of rich resources. That AARP has a statewide caregiver resource guide that only covers organizations that are statewide. But you can always go to your AAA if you're looking for caregiver resources. The area agencies on aging, which are covering all the counties in Missouri, they can tell you about what is local to you, as can AARP's online caregiver resource center, aarp.org/caregiving. And so there's lots of places for you to get information about where you can get resources for caregiving. But today we're going to talk about decluttering. And this might be something that have you scratching your head about why is that important for caregivers, but there are some reasons for that. You want to start that, Rachel, or you want me to?
Sure, I'll take the wheel here.
You
So,
go, girl.
For me, as I took care of my grandma, decluttering and getting rid of things was, a time saver for the future in terms of what laid ahead. My grandma lived by herself when I started taking care of her, but eventually we did combine households. That made it a lot easier for us to do that without all the stuff. But one of my concerns with all the stuff that my grandma had was safety. Of course, we know that having lots of stuff around, or maybe we don't, a lot of professionals and statistics show that having a lot of stuff around creates a fall risk. And we have enough reasons around the home or health wise that contribute to falls. Stuff should not be one of them. The other part of safety that really concerned me with my grandma and all her stuff was a lot of papers and boxes and all these things laying around creates a fire hazard. Not only does it make it hard to get out of your home, it just increases the risk of creating a huge fire. That's just something I think we would all like to avoid.
Absolutely. And not only is it a safety hazard that way, and Rachel and I have swapped stories long before this, but my Aunt Mary I think she was truly a hoarder. Let's just go there. But one of the challenges that she faced when she was older, she was healthy until she wasn't, and she broke a hip. And she was one of those people, she didn't fall. She just had osteoporosis so bad, her hip snapped. She went down. She was able to call my mom, who immediately called the paramedics. But the paramedics, because of how much stuff was in her house, they couldn't access her front door because they couldn't get it open. And that meant that they had to go around to the back of her house, which was built into the side of a hill. So they had to go up the deck stairs and through the deck and through her back door and then navigate through all the stuff to get to her. They couldn't get the gurney on wheels thing in. It was a nightmare. And fortunately, she was not in a I'm going to die if you don't get to me situation, but it was not pleasant, bless her heart. She had to lay there in pain until they could literally get through the stuff to get to her. So that is another safety concern as well. You want people to be able to access you in an emergency, but also if you have caregivers coming into your home, you want people to be able to get into your home to be able to help you because as we all know, everybody wants to age in place. Nobody says, "Ooh, I want to move to a nursing home." No one says that. We all say, "I want to stay right here where I'm comfortable. This is where I've lived for however many years. I love it here." So we want to make sure that our place is decluttered enough so that that can happen. Um, there was a study that was done that said the number one stress for caregivers is dealing with the stuff. And also the post caregiving thing of dealing with the estate. That's a whole nother level of that. And I don't know if you have any experience with that as with your grandmother.
Oh, certainly. I mean, my grandma, I wouldn't say she was a hoarder, but she hung on to a lot of things. Some things I just sometimes would have to chuckle or scratch my head, like, why is this still around? Um, but yes, from just personal effects and things like that to stuff, medical supplies and equipment that was no longer going to be useful to me. At the end of my caregiving mission, I certainly had a second round of stuff to get rid of.
Absolutely. And same for me with my parents. When my parents finally passed, and their house didn't look cluttered because they were organized about it, but I donated 14 pickup truck loads of stuff to their church's, like annual yard sale, plus the items that I couldn't live without, which was a bad idea. Let's just go there. But I mean, they had so much stuff, and it took an army of people from church to help me get rid of that stuff. And it is a challenge. But when we talk about this, we wonder, well, why don't people just get rid of stuff? Particularly because Rachel and I are a little bit different in age. I am at the tail end of the baby boomer generation. Rachel's a millennial. We have different attitudes about that. And there are generational differences about how we look at our stuff. Boomers and older tend to hang on. And there's that passed down value that we seem to have in our stuff. We've worked hard for our stuff. We're going to hang on to it. There's that perception of scarcity from folks that were raised in the Depression and those of us who were raised by people who were raised in the Depression. And so that kind of gets passed on, and it is now kind of diluted in Rachel's generation, I think. But they feel like we've worked hard for it. We need to hang on to it. There's that other thing that I'm sure has gone in the back of some of our heads, which is, but it's still good. It's useful. We could use that someday, right? But the real thing, I think, is what do these things represent? But we've got to get past that and think about how do we encourage the people we are caring for to get rid of those things. And Rachel, I think you had something about where we started with that.
Yeah. So, a lot of times it's can turn into a battle, and a power struggle, trying to convince our loved ones to do the things that we think are right for them. Of course, we know that getting rid of stuff is important, and in some cases, it's life saving. But a lot of times we come at it as more of like a command, like you need to get rid of this stuff. We need to throw this away. But I found that coming at it from a place of love and concern is a much better strategy. They always say honey catches more flies than vinegar. So, when I went to my grandma to convince her and work with her to minimize all the stuff that she had, it was from a place of concern. Grandma, I'm really worried that having all these things around might be dangerous for you at some point. And what if we could use these things to be a blessing to other people? And the love and concern and that approach really made a huge difference, as opposed to me telling my grandma, who's 50 years older than me, you need to get rid of this stuff. That they, nobody wants to be talked to that way. Not me, certainly, and I know she wouldn't appreciate it either. So just being sweet about it. And it wasn't a overnight situation. It did take time. That's another thing I think is key to remember, that nothing happens. Rome wasn't built in a day, and it took a lifetime to accumulate all of this stuff in some cases, and it's just not going to happen in the snap of the fingers or a blink of an eye.
Absolutely. Yeah. Progress, not perfection. It's going to take time to get it done. And I think one of the things that you said really resonates with me, which is let it be a blessing to someone else. And I think a lot of folks, and because I'm in that boomer generation, I'm not as bad as Aunt Mary, let's be clear, but I do have more stuff than I need to, and I need to declutter myself. But I really want to make sure that my stuff is going where it can do good. And one of the things that my Aunt Donna, another aunt, other side of the family, when she was trying to downsize after my Uncle Jack passed away, she was trying to, clear out some things and whatever. And we were working with her on that because it was her idea, not mine. And in her basement saw a beautiful coffee table that I thought it was mid-century modern, which I love. She'd been using it, and she and Uncle Jack, they had paint cans and things on top of it, but the shape, oh, it was lovely. And I said, oh, that's beautiful. And she said, oh, when I die, you can have that. You can put your name on it. I'm like, great, I guess. I don't want to think about you dying, but okay. The next time I went down to visit her, she's like, you know what? You can just take that now. If you got room in your car for it. I've got room. I'll make room. No problem. It made her really happy to see me excited about taking that out of her basement. And I took it back, cleaned it up. It's in my living room now. Sent her a picture of that. So she got to see not only that her stuff got moved out, how happy it made me and how good it looked in the space. So finding those places and ways that you or your loved one, because some of us who are caregivers also need to declutter, just going to say that, but finding a place where that can do some good, that you feel good about, whether it's passing it on to the next generation who really wants it. Because tell me, let you speak for millennials there, Rachel. Do you want all of our stuff?
No, not particularly. Honestly, I have a very good anecdote for that. I have an entire armoire set in the room next to me, and it's just sitting there collecting dust. Uh, because quite frankly, it's so huge. I'm not sure how I'm going to get it out of here. But I told my grandma over and over again, gosh, we should get rid of this. This thing is just so big. Like, what do we need all these pieces of furniture for? She's like, no, you can't get rid of it. You might want it one day. So that's, perfect, analogy, I think, for what you're talking about. No, for the most part, as far as me, I don't want to speak for all the millennials, but my peers, my friends, the people that I run around with tend to lean toward a more minimalist style of living. Um one that's a little bit more environmentally friendly, I guess. And uh well, I don't want any stuff, that's for sure.
I think that's the common is what your grandmother said is something that's AARP has found in kind of we have a downsizing and decluttering presentation. It talks about the top 10 tips and all these things. One of the things that comes up in that is through the research they did to put that together was a lot of folks say to their younger generations, you just don't know you want it yet. You're going to want it when you get older, right? That's real common. And you've got to trust that the people you're asking, if they want something or not, that they know that they do or do not want it. Because there are some things that you probably did want from your grandma, something that was meaningful or useful to you, a family heirloom, but not the giant armoire.
Most
Well,
certainly
that brings us
not
to
one.
the
Still plotting on ways of getting rid of it, but for now it's a giant storage unit.
well, if you have the room for it, I guess. Oh yeah, those kind of things. A friend of mine used to call those tolerances, and you don't know how much they are irritating you until you get rid of them, and then you feel that sense of lightness when it's gone. Whether it's an overfull closet, cleaning out the junk drawer in the kitchen, when it's all tidy or the clothes are out of the house, you're like, oh, I feel lighter. I feel better, and you don't know how much it's been weighing on you. So that's a good thing. But now we talked kind of about all the reasons and how this can be a safety concern, how it can be a hazard in lots of different ways, how it can be a burden to the caregiver or to the folks that come after the person you're caring for. But practically, what can we do with the stuff?
Well,
I know you've got a friend who runs an organization.
for sure. And I always am happy to talk about it. A friend of mine named Leslie founded Reuseful, which is an organization here in the Kansas City area that is basically dedicated to finding new ways to reuse things and give stuff that's still good new life. Um, so we, started out as a platform, a website, if you will, that allowed you to go online and search for places that are looking for items that you might have. Um, from then on, we started expanding, and now uh, Reuseful hosts a dumpster day periodically, which is a one-stop drop for you to gather up all the stuff around the house that's still good and bring it to charity partners, local nonprofits, schools, and churches that are uh, in need of those items, and then can use them for their missions. And now they're even hosting repair cafes and clothing swaps. But reuseful has to be probably hands down, and of course I'm a little biased. The most useful way of finding a place for things that you want to get rid of that are still good.
Yeah, and I would have to agree. I also live in the Kansas City area, and AARP in Kansas City has worked with Reuseful on the dumpster days. But additionally, on their website at reuseful with 2Ls.org, they have a list of charity partners. Not just that this partner takes this thing, but it also talks about the organization. So if you have someone who is in the Kansas City area who you think would be ready to declutter, you could talk to them about, here are the people that will take your giant armoire, and here's the mission of that organization. And sometimes the mission of the organization is the thing that makes it okay to donate. So there's an organization that is on the website called Flourish, which takes used furniture and they let people who need furniture shop their store. It's very dignified. It is not, here, just take what we have to give you. It is, you pick out what you want. And that gives people a dignity in getting furniture that they need. And I think that's a lovely, lovely idea, right? So this will help your person pick a charity or organization to donate to that resonates with them. It could be for kids, it could be for veterans, it could be for homeless, it could be whatever, but they can pick it. And it will also tell you all the ins and outs of that organization and how they pick it up or don't pick it up, or where you can drop it off, or it might be at a dumpster day, which is a really convenient way to do it. And I did the other thing that I think is AARP does do a downsizing and decluttering workshop that's good for caregivers and for others. Other things that support caregivers in their quest to do this. Rachel, you want to talk a little bit more about your support groups and just give that another hit before we sign out of here?
Sure. Yeah. So, we all caregiving is such a universal experience. Um, but it's not always easy, and sometimes it's isolating. So it is good to connect with other people who share a similar experience. We meet virtually, uh, via Zoom, and we, are always happy to help people practice, do a dress rehearsal, connecting to our group, before the group happens, just in case they're not so comfortable with technology. But a lot of times we have people coming on who are caring for folks or spouses or older loved ones, and we just share stories, we share ideas and resources that have worked for us. Um, and it's just a great way, especially like I said, if you're feeling isolated or like you want to connect with people who actually understand your experience. I highly recommend it.
Absolutely. I think support groups, there's always somebody who has been in your situation who can validate your experience. Even if they can't help you fix it, they can validate it, that what you're feeling is perfectly normal. There's also an AARP uh, support group, I guess you'd call it support group, Facebook online chat
Mhm.
group that is very supportive that you can find on Facebook if you do Facebook. Um, there's lots of good ways to find that kind of connection to other caregivers who can help you in your quest to downsize and declutter with your loved one or with yourself, or how to find care, or how to solve a problem, how to deal with someone with Alzheimer's. There's all kinds of help for you out there. Uh, we just hope that you will find it either through Sandwiched KC, through aarp.org/mo or aarp.org/caregiving. We want to thank you guys for joining us today. Rachel, I want to thank you for coming on and chatting with us, because the importance of caregiving can't be overstated. And anything that we can do, whether you're downsizing or not, decluttering is important to the safety of those folks we're caring about, as well as for our own stress as a caregiver. And we really appreciate the insight from the Sandwiched KC lens.
Well, once again, we are huge fans of AARP, and we are very grateful for all the work that AARP does to support family caregivers. So we're always happy to chat and work together.
Well, thank you so much. You know, that goes both ways. That admiration goes both directions. Want to thank all of you again for joining us to learn about how caregivers can better manage the challenges of decluttering when they encounter that in their role as a caregiver for a loved one. We hope you've enjoyed our topic today on this webinar. Keep an eye on aarp.org/local for next month's topic. In the meantime, please visit sandwichedkc.com and aarp.org/mo or dat/local for more information that you can use right now. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, everybody. See you later.
Yes. Thank you. Have a great day.